This is part 2 of the Transformers Godfire Convoy box set under the Encore series. We don't have to go for a package. We already did that in the first part of this video. What we're going to be looking at is God Magnus in his vehicle mode, in his robot mode, and hopefully if we still got time, instead of making this a third parter, we're going to go through Omega Prime combination or, you know, God Fire Convoy, whichever way. Your choice. I'm just going to go by the American name. So anyway, he is pretty much as identical as the original release, which I do have right here, just like Optimus Prime, only this one has seen better days. And sad story to tell you guys, this wasn't too long ago that I tried to do a little bit of some cleaning up on this figure, and I have totally butchered him pretty bad. As you can see, the chrome on the figure has worn off. There's hardly any chrome on this figure anymore except for the pieces that did not get a little bit of some power washing. As you can see, his Autobot symbol, it's still there, but it's pretty faded. But on the other side, just right there, that's it. Everything else has been wiped away. Yeah, note to myself, never ever try the retro bright thing again. This didn't do wonders. I mean, some areas the yellowing did go away. Some areas it's still noticeable to a certain extent. But yeah, the real damage comes in the form of chrome disappearing, the Autobot symbols fading away, and then of course the pin joints are starting to rust, making this figure very difficult to transform without pieces cracking here and there and even breaking off. So the fact that this figure is still holding intact right now is actually amazing. See, we do have a difference in the color going on here, basically with the blues. This is just a normal blue color. This is more of a bluish purple color, and I get it, what they're trying to do here, and I'm fine with them going with a little more of a cartoon color scheme for this set, but I do appreciate the fact that the bumper's chrome has been completely removed, except for a few areas that really doesn't get handled by your hands anyway, and that's basically the Autobot symbol here in that nice gold vac metal chrome, and the grille as well. This is the actual color of the plastic, and it matches pretty well with all the other blues going on throughout this figure, and I do appreciate that. It's good. It looks really good at that. And you can put some Autobots or Decepticons if you want inside and drag them around for a while, I guess. He likes that. So yep, just showing you how this works. So here's X-Brawn and Cyburn right next to Magnus, and he's pretty big, and he's supposed to be, because again, he's a giant car carrier. So let's go ahead and remove those real quickly. Let's go ahead and remove his blaster here, this giant chain gun of murder death, where one side's a cannon, one side is just a minigun, which does look pretty good, and then you got some missile firing features here, which if you're not careful, will fire off pretty easily. Let's take a look at the back here real quickly. As you can see, we got a little more breakup in the color here. I mean, we've got another set of blue here with very, very light blue, just like the blue that's going on here for the top of this gun. And that looks really nice. It really does. I really do like the color choices on this figure. Looks real nice. The tail lights are actually painted. We got some silver here for the back of these doors that slide down if you want, and I'm not going to bother with that. The only thing that I really do miss is just the Autobot symbols, because, I mean, you know, clearly, I mean, you can see he's not really pulling the robots in disguise gimmick here, as he's showing that he is an Autobot, in fact, and not just a normal vehicle. Right. So, anyway, wheels do roll. All of them roll pretty good. Doesn't seem to be any hindrance whatsoever. Everything touches the ground just fine. Doesn't seem to be any loose parts here. I can hold him up from the front without him drooping down like the original release, but then again, that's just because of age, so it's not the figure's fault. And there's not much else to really talk about here, so what do you say we go ahead and transform the guy into his robot mode, right? Let's save ourselves a couple of minutes. So I'll go ahead and untab all this here so we can get his trailer piece out of the way for a moment, and we can lift up these panels here. This is all going to tab in. They're going to create his back spoiler wings for robot mode. Right, now we're going to put him aside for a second. That way we can actually work with the legs, because that's what this is, all legs here. So bring down these flaps, rotate these pieces out just like this, lift up and untab the legs. Untab the legs. It's a new set, so it's a little harder to actually get these legs to untab, but yeah, you got one joint that has to slide up, one joint that has to slide down, and it makes it a little tricky to get them to come undone. But anyway, fold that in, rotate, tab all this together like so, bring down this section, come back here, bring out his leg connection, do the same thing on this side. Just like this. Bring this up. Fold that down. There we go. And I mentioned that this set feels really good. The quality on this feels a little more resistant than the actual quality on the Superfire Convoy. Go ahead and untab his chest piece here for, you know, Omega Prime combination, but what we're going to do is fold this up like so, and then collapse these in. There we go. Then we're going to untab his forearms here from the jet boosters. Yeah, so now that we did that, let's untab his arms here from each other. Fold this whole section down just like this. And that's where we're going to stop for a moment, because we're going to come right here in this section, and we're going to untab this piece right here that I got my hands on from these wheels here, so we can get enough space to actually get in here and bring out his hips, which are on very tight ratchets. And then in this section here, which is going to make the chest for Magnus, we're going to flip out these panels like this. Okay, then we're going to bring this all back up, come in here, pull out Magnus' head. You might actually have to go from behind, rotate it around like this, rotate the head, tab all this back in, and then there's a tab right here. It's going to go into this slot right here, line it up right, and that holds in pretty good. Okay, so now this section here, we're going to take one of these ramps, we're going to extend it out all the way. We're going to push this one in on itself. So that way we got this going on here, which gives us enough space to actually fold this down now. Just like this. And then readjust this. Slide this one back in place, and that keeps them locked in position like so. Next thing to do is take this small little dinky tab here and get that to go into this slot right here. You'll hear it click into place if you do it right. It's a new figure, so this may take some time. Bear with me. There we go, that's one. Now let's do the same on this side here. There we go. That was actually pretty easy. Right then, rotate the forearms so the elbow joints are showing, and then rotate his hands into their correct position, like so. Now, as I raise the camera because he's about to get real big here, we're going to take his legs and we're going to combine them with the hip joints just like so, and they do click in, which is nice. Nice click, very satisfying. Adjust everything to your liking. Push him back so we can see him completely, or as much as we can get on here. And lo and behold, there he is. Here is Ultra Magnus in his robot mode. And he is amazing. He's a little top heavy because he does have batteries installed on the inside here, so it does create a little bit of some heft. He does have a backpack. As you can see, he's got quite the backpack, but he also does have a little bit of support going on here. Not the best. These are definitely not heel spurs, but they will keep him balanced just right in certain ways. So He's okay. He's not going to fall over. I can counteract the balance by simply taking his blaster here and transforming it into either its cannon or to its minigun, like so. Rotate this section here, and then I can, install it right here on this side. Pretty much the way to counteract the balancing issue because of the heavy backpack in the back is to put a little more heft in the front by giving him his blaster. And there you go. I mean, this figure is pretty chunky. This is not feeling like cheap plastic. This feels like this is a figure from a different set of the Encore series. We do have some electronics to go through, but in order to do that, we need to go ahead and remove the weapon. Or instead, what do you say we just go ahead and leave the weapon in? That way we can get some of the special electronics out of the way. And I will say, this is pretty random, and there's a ton and a ton of sound effects to go through. Let's get to it, because again, we got some batteries in here, and the button is right here. It's this red little button right here underneath his thrusters, which makes up a jetpack. Yeah. Now, you will notice one thing. There happens to be a little bit of an imperfection on the release of God Magnus right now. As it stands, the electronics are in the wrong placement. As you heard, he was firing off the laser instead of actually firing off his minigun. So, when I go to apply the laser mode here, I will not connect his arm to this. It will hold in just fine since this is a new figure. But listen to this. Yeah, so my figure does suffer from the electronics or the sound gimmicks being in the wrong placement here. The lasers on this side, the Gatling guns on this side. Right. I can let it slide. That doesn't really bother me. We got one more to go through with this, so let's turn them this way. Fold back the handles like so. Rotate that one. Okay. Let's turn it this way. Here's the full-on combination when he's firing both weapons. We got free play for just the figure itself and all the sounds it has to offer. So let's go through this, and it's quite the library. So one more. I could go through this all day, and I still can't tell you how many I've actually heard over and over again because they all sound different to me. Really, you get all the bang for your buck with Magnus here. Everything that is what you were expecting for the asking price, you get out of Magnus. Not Super Fire Convoy, not Optimus Prime. You get it from God Magnus, Ultra Magnus, which I do like. And I do like the paint job on this figure. I like the fact that his Autobot symbol here on his head is actually painted. It's a nice gold trim there that the American release did not get. And his eyes are actually orange here, so, it looks good. Everything about this figure just looks so much better than the American release, and the joints feel so tight. They really want to stay in place. I mean, they don't feel like they're going to get loose anytime soon. Of course, this is being a new figure. Of course, the quality is going to be really good on him. So, this definitely is the replacement for the Ultra Magnus figure that I totally butchered. So, anyway, let's go through some of the articulation on this guy. So, we do have a ball-jointed head, as you can see. We got ball-jointed shoulders. We do also have a hinge joint here to allow full rotation without any hindrance, just as long as you get behind the wing, like so. You do get some inward and outward splay. You do have ball jointed elbows that does get a little less than 90 degrees of bend, but you also do make up with the fact that the figure does not have a bicep swivel, so that's nice. The hands are ball jointed, so you do get any movement you really want out of it, actually, which is really nice. The fingers are not individually articulated, but they do have a hinge for moving inward and outward. The thumb is hinged as well, so you can move it up. You can also give this video a thumbs up, as you can see, right? So that's nice of him. Okay, nothing at the waist due to transformation. It's something that you shouldn't expect for a figure being old, but leg movement, of course, being all leg, this guy has quite a bit, so you can get this much forward. That's definitely 90 degrees there. That's a lot. You don't get anything back. It just goes back to a normal stance because there's so much hindrance going on in the back there. But if I get his arms up all the way, you can actually get his legs to come all the way out for a very nice JCVD split there. So I'm sure the man improves. We do have a thigh swivel joint as well, which can disconnect the leg if you put too much force on it, but you know, you can always pop it back in. And then of course we got single jointed knees, but due to transformation they can get quite the range of bend. That's definitely more than 90 degrees there, so that's very nice. But unfortunately, because of how old this figure is, you should know this already, but if you don't, that's it. That is it for the articulation. There's nothing below the knee joint, nothing at the feet. And what do you expect? I mean, he has some small feet. There really isn't much that can be done there. So, you know, that's pretty much the basics on this figure. And he is so much leaps and bounds better than the Fire Convoy action figure. It just, it's like, it's not from the same set. It just isn't. It just feels so much better. It just feels like a better action figure that came from another series, not Encore related at all. Let's do a side-by-side comparisons because I'm not going to forget his brother. So here's Optimus Prime or Super Fire Convoy, whichever one you want to call him, in comparisons. And as you can see, just like in the show, Magnus towers over him. Totally. So yeah, I can understand why he was so frustrated with the fact he never got the matrix of leadership. It went to Optimus Prime. I get it. I understand. I feel your pain, man. Right. So anyway, I guess that's pretty much going to wrap this up, at least for Magnus. So in order to save a little time, I've already taken the liberty of disassembling Magnus and putting Optimus Prime already in his combination position. So to start off with, we're going to go ahead and put his leg back, and we're going to transform Magnus' leg into what will become the boots of Omega Prime. First of all, bring out the feet, like so. Flip that up, and then this section here is going to fold out, and it's going to tab in right here, like so. Put this piece back into this position, flip up this gate, like so. Okay. Then take this section here and rotate this in like that. And then on this double hinge here, we're going to fold in just like that. We're going to sandwich it all. And that is pretty much one boot done. And we're good to go with this section here. So what we can do is go ahead and apply this to Optimus Prime. So just plug his feet in like that. And then take this section and tab it into that hole right there on this side. And then this tab is going to go into this hole right here as we bring this up for the shin guard. Tab it in. That's one. Let's hope he stays up real quickly. Get this all lined up. Okay, so we'll tab this all together like so. Tab this in. Just like that. Tab in the hole from the shin guard. Like so, and there we go. Now Optimus Prime is getting really big. So, next thing to do is to take his hands here, or the forearms of Magnus, pop open these sections like so, split them like that, rotate this around. This is going to be his right forearm, so we're going to take this hand and rotate it this way, bring down the thumb, and there is no way I can actually get these hands actually tab in at all to the thumb pieces on this figure. So when I go about putting this forearm on here, it always comes undone and falls right off the figure. I have figured out a remedy for this if anyone else is having this problem. Simple enough, the hole is too small on the front of the figure's hands, but if you rotate it backwards, I know it looks weird, but you're not going to see it anyway in combination mode of Omega Prime, you will see that the hole is actually a little bigger than it was on the front. So there's enough space to actually get this tab here on his thumb to actually slide right into position. I don't know how well this is actually going to be seen, but as you can see, there we go. See, it's holding in just fine. Collapse the fingers around that. And then we're going to take these two tabs right here on Prime's forearms, or they're going to go into these holes right here on Magnus' forearms, just like this. Now trying to get this to line up on camera is a little hard to do, but hey, I managed. Fold this up, take this panel in the back, fold it up, clip it into place. This one in the front, clip it into place like this. And we got a little bit of some Autobot detail here, which is a nice touch, just like the original release. Raise the camera up so you can see some more of this, because we got to do it all over again. Open all this up. Find that hand, there it is. So line it up right. Rotate this one around like this. Open up his fingers like that. And with the hand rotated backwards, again, should be able to get this to tab right into the hole of the hand, just like that. Take this panel, flip it up. The two tabs are going to go into the two holes right here. So I line it up just right. Fold that up. Fold the back piece up. Clip it into place. Fold the front piece up. Clip it into place. And there we go. There's the forearms of Omega Prime. So open up this panel here. Flip these pieces back like this. Untab his shoulders like that. Untab his waist section like this. And we're going to take these hips and put them back into storage, just like that. Very tight joints, but I do appreciate that. It feels so good. Right then, okay, next thing to do is to bring down one of the ramps so we can get some room here to split them out like that. Flip all this back, just like that. Take Magnus' head section here, or this whole half, rotate this around like this, take his head and rotate it this way, and then we're going to take that half and we're going to split it up like that. I mean, it's pretty much going into a 90-degree angle like that, and we should have enough clearance to pop that sucker above, like so, and then bring it down just like that. And then we'll take the ramp section again and bring it back down and get these panels to line up with each other, and there we go. There's the back spoiler for Omega Prime. Next thing to do is to get this piece out of the way so we can get some room and take these parts here with the electronics and get them to come out like so, and get them to line up right here. They don't lock into anything, they just fit into these grooves. Do the same thing on this side here. Fit it into the groove just like that. Okay, now we take his shoulders from robot mode and we're gonna rotate this section up like so. We're going to take this elbow section and we're going to fold it up like that, just to make things a little more flush. So a little more compact, just like that. There we go. Okay, now these red sections are going to come out like this, and we're going to fold down these shoulder bits just like that. And that's pretty much all we're going to do at this point. I'll save the head reveal for last. All the way back here, which is hard to reach, but there's these holes right here. They're going to go into these tabs right here. And then we're going to apply some force to get that to stay into place. And then there's clips on the bottom here of this section that's going to go into the obvious place where if this was chrome, it would chip very easily. And it's going to make a very nice clicking sound. Come to the back here, make sure this is all lined up once again just right. And as you can see, his head's already popping up, so we'll just go ahead and complete the look by bringing it all the way back like so. Rotate it, fold back the antenna pieces like so, Get everything lined up just right. And, I don't know how well I'm going to be able to get this all on camera here, but, there he is. There's, Transformers, Car Robots, Encore Series, Godfire Convoy, otherwise known as Omega Prime, in his robot mode. And it is huge! How huge? Well, let me show you, because I do have, again, the American Optimus Prime right here from Robots in Disguise. And, yeah, you can see, trying to get these two side by side here, which is quite the task. It's like, wow, he got so much bigger. And this is a big figure in this battle mode. But this, in its full-on Omega Prime combination, is gigantic. Leader class figures aren't even this scale these days. They're not even close. If anything, they're probably about right here to the chest piece, right there. And, you know, I did notice something. That actually, this is incomplete. There we go. It's actually supposed to be splayed out a little bit, just like that at an angle. And, yeah, it does get into the way of the articulation on this guy, which really isn't that much different from the actual Optimus Prime battle mode articulation. So I don't know if I really should go through with it, but I will give you basically the description of it as best as I can. We got ball joint shoulders, universal shoulder joints. We've got bicep swivel joint. We got single jointed elbows. We got ball jointed wrists. We got hinges at the fingers and the thumb. We got waist joint. We also have an ab crunch, which I can't mess around with right now. We do have universal leg joints on very tight clicking, so you do get a lot of kicking forward, a lot back. You do get your splits, no JCVD unfortunately. You do get at least maybe 75 degrees of bend at a single joint at the knees. And the feet do have some articulation as well, but you also do have a swivel joint here at the knee section, which I missed, my bad. But yeah, to show this off, you do get some nice hinges up and down at the feet. You do have ankle rocker pivot, which is nice. And then you do have, I guess you could call this toe articulation. You do have a hinge there. So he's loaded with articulation, but getting this guy to pose is quite the challenge, because he is so heavy because of all the electronics going on from Magnus. And again, this backpack, while it doesn't look as bad as Magnus, it's still got quite the depth to it. And he is top heavy, in all honesty. The fact that his feet are so small that he's actually able to stand up right now because of the whole heaviness to the backpack is amazing. No, really, Omega Prime is where the challenge is really at. This combination is so much fun. I love transforming this guy back and forth all the time. So much fun. I only wish I could really show you the power of his posability, but right now as it stands, because, you know, Fire Convoy's got some complications, I really can't mess with him. So, we're not done here. We do have some electronics to go through, so I will go ahead and turn him around so you can hear what happens with the Omega Prime combination. And actually, I'm going to turn it this way because he does actually have some lights with the sound effects in the head. So let's go ahead and show this off here. There's maybe one or two more sounds that this set has to offer from the top when applying his cannon. So by pressing the button in the back, okay, so it only has one sound with this combination. So let's just go ahead and remove this because it's making the figure a lot top heavier. Right. So there you have it. I mean, there's not much else that I can really say about this set, except that, again, it's kind of a hit or a miss at the moment because there is some complications with the electronics in Magnus. Even though they do work, they're on the wrong side, just like this release here. So this is no different at all from those. This is a massive imperfection to the early release of this set. Over time, I'm sure they'll go and correct it. They've already had a form of apology posted on their Twitter page. But as it stands right now, I'm fine with it, okay? Magnus is where it's at. the full-on combination of Omega Prime is superior. I really do love this set. I just wish that I didn't have any problems with the first part of this video. $200 at best is what I say, because for two figures, $200, that's fine right there. $100 each figure. So of course that's not going to happen for a while. You'll have to wait until this set is on discount, but that's only if you are a Robots in Disguise fan or car robots and you really like to consume the products as much as you can. In regards to that, more power to you. So the last thing we're going to take a look at in this video, as I promised in the first video parter, we have the God Sword, or Master Sword as some people call it. We're going to go ahead and combine this thing together like so. So there you go. We got this nice clear translucent plastic for the whole blade of the sword, which looks very nice. And then of course you got this option here for the handle piece for Omega Prime to be wielding it. Or you can use this piece here and you can give it to your Fortress Maximus or Brave Maximus, whichever one you have. So it's simple enough. You can just peg it in like so. And then this peg would go into the hand of Fortress Maximus, which is busy at the moment. So I'm not going to bother to pull the figure out to show that off. Instead, what I'm going to do is show off this piece here by pegging this into place. Right, so I finally got it over the hilt of the sword, but I did not tab it in all the way. As you can see, there's still a space there, so I can pull this out and replace it if I want later on. Because I get the feeling that if I push this all the way in, it's going to lock in the position, and I'm never going to be able to get this off without forcing it to the point where it's going to break. Just like the third-party one I used to own. Anyway, raising up the camera so we can see Omega Prime one last time. Let's go ahead and give him this Master Sword. I don't have it locked all the way into position, so it's a little crooked on the side, that's all. Outside of that, it looks great, and look how tall this thing is compared to him. It looks great with the figure, but I'm sure it looks 10 times better with Fortress Maximus, so I'm probably going to give it to him. So, outside of that, this has been a very, very long video, and maybe I should have split this up into 3 parts, but at least it's said and done. Now I can finally get back to the Transformer Studio series, and I've given you my 2 cents about this in 2 parts. Pretty much over an hour of material here, so decide it for yourself. And this is pretty much where I'm going to wrap up the video now before I just drag this out any longer. Questions or comments, you know what to do. Hit it down below in the comment section of the video. If you liked today's video review and yesterday's, hit the thumbs up button. And don't forget to give me a sub up. If you didn't like it, hit the thumbs down and don't forget to throw in the towel. Until then, this is the unprofessional toy reviewer Redis Power signing off, saying thank you very much for watching this, and I'll see you whenever you see me.